I would like you to provide a background for our viewers, for them to understand what, FDI is all, FPI, sorry, it's all about, foreign portfolio investment, for them to understand what's all about. So I would like you to provide, a concept as regards FPI and then the significance to economic growth and development.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to start by saying FDI and FPI, they're really not so much different. They are foreign investments coming into a space. What makes it a bit different with foreign portfolio investment is more like you're investing in the market and not going to open a shop, for example, in Alaba and start selling. You're buying shares, for example, First Bank shares or Dangote shares or GT Bank shares, and you are not, as it were, a Nigerian, or you don't live in Nigeria, you live outside Nigeria, you're bringing in, your money, which is a foreign currency, into the Nigeria economy. So the good thing with this kind of investment is that it kind of provides buffer for forex within the economy and also engineers growth, within the economy, if properly managed and channeled to, development options and the expansion plans that these portfolio managers have in relation to the contextual issues in a particular country, in this instance, Nigeria. So issues of security, climate change, issues of unemployment, especially, getting the young, youthful energy of the country channeled properly. So if someone comes and invests 100 million, we want to see how we can channel that properly to ensure that it leads to growth and expansion, and more hands can be taken on board to then, get people working, get the economy running effectively. So a portfolio is mainly an investment in stocks and the trade market and stock exchange market from outside the shores of a country.
All right. According to statistics released by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics for the first quarter of this year, the flow of investment into portfolio investment into Nigeria declined by 83%. I would like you to talk to us. What are the critical events that shape this kind of development and results, and what can be done to ensure that we are playing, on a very better ground when it comes to portfolio investment in Nigeria?
It's not shocking. It's not direct. It's not particularly alarming. I mean, it's expected. If you see in recent times, the exchange, the naira just practically nosedived, and kept climbing and climbing until quick interventions were done. It stabilized a bit, but it's not quite there yet. We had an election, and there were a lot of issues around it. And when there's change in power, you know that there will be change in direction, and what the new government may want to be emphasizing may not be what the last government is emphasizing. So those sort of risk assessment will be what most investors will be doing to see is this government serious? What direction are they taking? So everybody will hold back and want to see how things play out before they can then come back. And that's why I think for now, the government needs to do more to show readiness, an open door policy, and a very vibrant marketplace where the market forces are active and not necessarily, it's not so good when government is dipping the hands to try to stabilize and, manualize, the marketplace. You have to allow the market forces to get, engrossed with the market. And that's the beauty of economics, and then with policy, you can tweak here, tweak there a bit and like that. So it's not surprising. There was a change in government, and you know how our political seasons go. They become very, very, heightened with security concerns, and everybody's panicking, and there's tension in the land. So that may have contributed last year, besides the fact that the Ukraine war and that generally there's a global unsettling about oil prices and how things were going, and cost of living generally across board anywhere in the world is on the rise. So a number of factors globally, but then more entrenched locally. There've been some shifts that needed to settle for investors to jump back in.
All right, you made reference to the change in government, which, you had the former President Buhari, and now you have President Tinubu. If you look at the personality of the president or the persona now, do you think that has much influence to the level of confidence or trust that investors will have in a country like Nigeria? Does it matter?
I wouldn't so much pin it to persona. Rather, I want to say posturing. One, there's a good track record for President Ahmed Bola Tinubu in Lagos, what he's done to contribute to what people before him did in Lagos. He was able to galvanize and steady the space. There's still a lot to be done, managing the business ecosphere in Lagos. But in terms of posturing, I would say that the president has done a bit. He's done very well, but there's still more to be done. For example, in terms of posturing, the type of appointment, the quality of appointment, the exposure of appointees, the capabilities of appointees, the reach of appointees. This clearly, if it's a good departure from the past, it shows that, okay, this posturing seems like this person is looking to do things differently. And I think so far, it's not so bad with the president. He's doing, the right thing to see that people are positioned correctly and they are able to do the job they've been positioned to do.
All right, let's still go back to the statistics released by NBS for the first quarter of this year. According to that statistics, in spite of the challenges, Nigeria attracted over $200 million, portfolio investment to equity market in Nigeria. Talk to us, what's so peculiar about the equity market in Nigeria and some of the characteristics that led to this development?
Well, I think, you see, unlike foreign direct investment into, for example, a shop in Alaba market, portfolio investment, the risk is mainly usually based on market forces and the undulations and rise and fall of prices. Now, with that heavy inflow, it shows that the risk is minimal. And Nigeria is an attractive market. It's the biggest market in Africa. There is no single doubt about the viability of the market. It's just the forces within, the scary stories and, corruption index, economic freedom index, justice and all of those factors that make people sometimes want to hold back. You may think that is high, but I think it is not quite high enough for Nigeria. We should be in the realms of the billions now for the size of our economy. So while it's high, I think it's because the risk is as minimal as it could be managed.
Right, great. Our president doubles as the chairman of ECOWAS. What are your expectations from him, taking advantage of the influence he has now, as the chairman of ECOWAS, in impacting the economic growth for Nigeria and also attracting foreign, direct investment for Nigeria? What are your expectations from him in taking advantage of his international influence to reshape Nigeria's economy?
That's a good one. ECOWAS is a marketplace to a large extent, as it is a political bloc. And for me, I would expect that President Tinubu will make moves to get an eraser and, just clean off those economic lines and borders. For an economy to thrive, there shouldn't be any border. I want to see a borderless economic, interaction within the West Africa sub-region. Why should we be, struggling to get, for example, to Niger, to Ghana, to Togo, Senegal, and within the neighboring community to do business? Why shouldn't I be able to grow my yams and take them to, somewhere in Upper Volta and sell them off if they are not having so much yield, in that kind of location? So there should be more interconnectedness and and a more strengthened interaction. So I want to see the president explore, that sense of borderlessness in economic activities and interaction. And the first place to start is to remove any form of limitations and inhibitions to people moving here and there and interacting. And then for ECOWAS sub-region to kind of not envelope themselves away from the global market, but protect that region from unnecessary importation. That is going to be difficult for example, a country like Benin, where they rely mostly on importation. But then importation can sometimes become an avenue for dumping of waste from Europe, dumping of unwanted goods from Europe, and that needs to be managed properly. So I want to see President Tinubu jump in front of that and set up perhaps a committee of young-minded people to also see how we can begin to leverage on the fourth industrial revolution, positioning our sub-region for that market.
I would like you to talk about some of the critical issues you think the federal government should address or should be the priorities of this government to ensure that they attract foreign portfolio investment. The president has set agenda for the conference taking place in Saudi Arabia. What are some of the critical issues you think the president should address locally in order to be able to attract foreign portfolio investments to Nigeria?
Thank you very much. That's a great question, and one that we need to carefully address, because you see, if he who wants a friend must show himself friendly. So he who wants foreign portfolio investment must show himself ready. Readiness by stamping down on corruption, readiness on ensuring there's a stability in the value of the naira, readiness in attractive and friendly incentives for these things to happen. If you are wanting people to come, you must dress up and show up and be friendly and open. And right now, I don't think Nigeria is fully dressed for the kind of advancement you are looking at and talking about in terms of foreign portfolio investment. We need to position ourselves correctly. The way we do business is still a bit below international standards, and the way we open our doors to visitors is also below international standards. If you travel around the world, you see how you're welcome in some countries and other countries, and it's not just Europe or South America and North America. No, I mean, even in Africa, you go to some countries, the level of help, the level of assistance, the warmness and all of that, it's not the same with Nigeria sometimes, depending on the gates you're entering from. So we need to understand that these factors contribute to the general attitude of our nationhood, and we need to adjust them. We need to repair them. We need to position ourselves correctly as an investment destination. And reducing the risk of volatility is key, because for equity and portfolio investment, it's not like you're running on the street. It's not boots on the ground. It's the marketplace. And once the market is not stable, people will pull out, or they'll just be dipping their feet in the water bit by bit and not coming all out. And so, if there's stability, there's a sense of justice and fairness, respect for contracts, and a minimization of some of these trends in online and cyber crimes and all of that. It could help It could help because it's difficult. If I ask you now that you want to do an investment in Nigeria, where should you go? Who should you speak to? Not being afraid that you're falling into the hands of one of these prince of Nigeria who want to scam you of your money. So there needs to be more tighter policy in that regard. Cybersecurity, ensuring that those who need to be online are there for a reason and they're legitimately doing what they need to be doing there and not looking to rip people off. So all of this contributes, and we need to set that right. We need to adjust the thermometer and temperature of economic volatility to ensure that they're safe enough for habitation, for businesses coming from other climes, especially in this regards for foreign portfolio investment.
Oh, great. Now, this time around, I would like you to shed light on some of the risk associated with relying on FPI, as capital for source of revenue. What are the risks and the challenges that could come when, an economy relies on this kind of foreign portfolio investment for capital inflow? What could be the risk and the challenges?
Um, There are quite a few that I think will be critical to the Nigeria economic situation. For example, the recent downtrend in our naira. Anyone who's brought in money, certainly they've either lost money or their money is just not quite stable in market. They're not sure of how it is and how it's doing and how it will grow and if there's profit there. Relying on foreign portfolio investment as a means for stabilizing the local economy is not a way to go. I will not see foreign portfolio investment necessarily as posing risk to the economy, because if the economy was running as it should and is attractive enough, that is what the foreign investors will want to leverage on. So if you're not getting it right normally, you will not get it right, internationally by trying to connect to other markets and attracting equity investors and all of that. So the risk it poses mainly are they are housed in the location for the investment, not necessarily the investment coming to generate some form of risk. If there's no reliability on growth and expansion locally, certainly no amount of foreign portfolio investment will help the economy. If you don't have security, those risks will remain. If corruption is on the high, certainly those risks will remain, and they certainly will jeopardize the chances of getting growth and expansion with foreign portfolio investment. And the volatility of the stock is something that's every investor knows about. But when there are heightened factors that someone sneezes and the entire stock market goes down, you want to have a think about that. So everybody stays on the stock most of the time, just looking and seeing which direction things are going. And these days, you have young billionaires and millionaires across the globe who do not care where. Once they see that there's stability in the market, they don't want to know. They put their money on it because it will grow.
I would like you to conclude your thought on how do you see the FPI landscape in Nigeria evolving, given the global interest, in Africa and in a country like Nigeria, where, the Nigeria as being the giant of Africa has been perceived as a new frontier for emerging markets in Africa. How do you see the FDI landscape in Nigeria evolving in the next few years?
In terms of evolution, I think we have to fall back to our own positioning for what is coming. And I think I keep saying this, and I think I will re-emphasize it. The world is changing. The fourth industrial revolution is on, and we missed the first, second, third. We're always catching up. we need to stop playing catch up. We need to position ourselves correctly. The rise of AI, emphasis on more sustainable means of doing business, readiness for that kind of space. That change is heavy, and we need to skill up quickly, very, very quickly, massively. We need to skill up. We need to ready ourselves to be positioned for that kind of change. So although Nigeria is a large market, although Nigeria is a preferred market, and we've got a lot of labor force to engineer any business successfully, but do we have the right skills that will be relevant to enhancing opportunities for equity investment and growth? We need to deal with our poverty index. If you see a rise in the real estate market now, is only because they're in a few hands, and we need to unpack that sector so that real people can actually afford houses and to have shelter for themselves, and the equity market, the potential growth in the mortgage system and in insurance. But most particularly, the rise of the AI is here and it's happening already in medical advancement, in tech, in location-based services, in geospatial intelligence and military and all of that. Just name it. But then you look at the readiness of even our universities. Many of them are still locked into the old ways of studying courses that particularly do not help anybody get ahead in life. So we need to position ourselves accurately with the right skills and emphasis on the right skills. And for me, education is a great pathway, but it does not necessarily mean education in a classroom. We need to think about an apprentice system where those who do not want to take that formalized channel can look at other spaces. So there will be massive growth, and technology is going to lead the way, and we need to position ourselves correctly.